Hello there, yes. Well, yeah, I know it's Sunday. Anyway, I'm often amazed at a variety of different things. Usually just life, to be quite honest. But particularly at the weekends, it's probably because I've got a lot more time in my hands. But just the utter tosh that comes out of most commentators' mouths that they expect us to believe as being absolutely real. Really astounding. This weekend, I don't follow him on Twitter, but I was drawn to this. Yeah, Russell Brand has found God, obviously. He found God. He's going to be baptised, so he's asking his multitudinous followers, who are quite happy to pay him for, I don't know, telling them that all the conspiracy theories they want to believe in are in fact true. He's gonna take the plunge with God, and I'm sure he is, right? Religious, that is. I'm sure that's not going to be a ploy just to gain more followers and therefore more money, and therefore probably make him even less likely to ever have to go to court and face his accusers. Yes, but I have my doubts. But it is intriguing if you look at the list of followers for him. These are people who, quite a lot of them, for example, like the National Front and Britain First and et al., all the usual right-wing commentators. These are people that often complain about asylum seekers pretending to be Christians, but I'm sure not in this case. There was a mass protest, or a number of mass protests in London at the weekend. There was a ULEZ mass protest, and thanks to Auto English, we've got some choice photographs here. I do love this one. You can see all the dinosaurs on display, and quite a lot of people dressed up in costumes. Yes, I was also kind of thinking about making a joke about diversity there with humans and reptiles. But one of the things you will notice is they're standing on a monument and, desecrating it. But that's okay, because they're the good guys, or, well, I don't know, something? Yes, anyway, there they are. You can see what enormously large numbers of people there are. Surrounded in a mist of pro-Palestinian, very bad people, inevitably, who weren't being arrested. And no doubt all the Jewish people that were on the demonstration found it too threatening to go at the demonstration, because all Jewish people apparently are the same somehow. Yes, and Talk TV gave us an interview with Dr. Starkey, CBE, yes, who was complaining bitterly about the fact that he came out with a vastly racist statement, and apparently people thought it was vastly racist, which is one of those things, I suppose. But I do like this. When human rights were invented by Churchill, the guy's supposed to be a historian. When they were invented by Churchill, well, no. But anyway, they were intended to protect the individual against the state. Yes, they do, David. The left has redesigned them to protect minorities against the majority. Yes, David, that can also be the same thing. If we think about minorities and the reason why we have, for example, human rights under the UN, notions of the individual against the state do dovetail very, very neatly in terms of the fact that that individual being a minority and part of a minority group. You can do both, David, okay? It's called maths. No, he's got no idea. Did love this one. GB News, the usual right-wing cack that they put out. But are teens today out of control? Nearly 1 in 5 teachers says they've been hit by a pupil in 2024. Yes, indeed. Teens, they don't respect any discipline, according to these two and the guests, which is a bit odd, because I thought teachers were able to manipulate kids into voting against the Conservative Party and becoming trans. I guess you can have both, can't you? Or do you have to choose so that teachers are either out of control, in control, out of control, but the kids are out of control, whilst the teachers can control them, but choose not to allow themselves to be hit as cover for the long march through the institutions. It's the only way that I can get my head around that particular conundrum. And perhaps my favourite of all, which was just one of those astounding ones from Zoe Strimple, who was writing from the front lines in the, culture war, really, that the Israeli Defence Forces are the most moral soldiers in the world. right side of history beckons there, definitely. The broadcast media always thinks the worst of the Israeli army. They couldn't be more wrong. Yes, you notice she's put the broadcast media there, not those brilliant, fearless freedom fighters that are paid for by billionaires living abroad. Yes, thank God they don't, and the Telegraph isn't going to be owned by a foreign state. Imagine how awful that would be. But yes, she was bitterly decrying the fact that very often things like the BBC and Channel 4 will report on what appear to be war crimes, and hazard a wild stab in the dark guess that it might be, one of the two sides of the combatants in a war zone. And, bearing in mind that if you are a group of terrorist freedom fighters, or terrorists, or freedom fighters, or both, embedded in the civilian population, you probably aren't going to commit war crimes on them, because that will lose you support at a time when it's likely to be quite high. So that only leaves one other option. Of course it does. It'll be the Metropolitan Police. I reckon it's definitely them. We know about this sort of two-tier aspect to everything that's going on at the moment. So my guess is off-duty Met Police are basically planting evidence in Gaza. I can think of no other plausible explanation. I mean, it can't be the IDF because, as Zoe rightly puts, all the way from Hampstead Heath, posh gal, they are the most moral army in the world. That might be a typing mistake. Anyway, do have a lovely weekend if you can. Rest of all that stuff. Sunday, yeah, it's still wet, isn't it? Yeah, never mind. I'm getting stuff done. I have clean bits of my house. This is cool.